And we're off and running. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to weekly Magento community sync up. We've got a few items to discuss today. I'll pass word to Valera to kick us off.
Yes, so I share my screen. Hello, everyone. I have update about processing of our current pull request. As I mentioned on previous demo, we had this week we had focus on processing of current pull request, and during this week we merged 10 pull requests. There are some pull requests with new functionality, with some pull requests with functionality was created early, so on. And finally, looks like I think it's not bad result, especially we have a few blockers. And I will describe in more details about our blockers. During this week, we was blocked with issue with our pod build. And tomorrow and today I spent time for investigation of this problem. You can see that we have failed sanitize check job. I installed Geometry on local machine and I reproduce this issue. So general problem was that we changed GraphQL scheme, but in this case we also need to change our GraphQL's fragments scenarios in our infrastructure repo. I made changes in infrastructure repo, regenerate new benchmark, and push this data and push this new benchmark in scope of pull request small image URL. Also, I need to do the same for Enterprise Edition and for B2B Edition. But generally, we can see that problem is resolved now only for Community Edition, but I believe it will be same for Enterprise and B2B Edition. Also, our next problem was some random failures. Some random failures on Bamboo branch. So we skipped a few new tests, and I'm going to have investigation tomorrow and start of the next week's what is problem. Looks like we have bad isolation between our tests. And also we have some problem with B2B. The same problem, we have bad isolation, but looks like I also know what is problem and I push some pull request to B2B repository. Generally, this issues was resolved and we still waiting for merging these issues to mainline. And a few words about open pull requests. Now we can see that we have 11 pull requests which are in progress, but that's the real situation. All of these pull requests have some updates, some commits, so on. And I communicate with different guys, and generally I can say that mostly of these pull requests close to finish, and I also believe that all of these pull requests will be merged during the next week. So generally, I think that's all from my side. Alex, can you share a few words about GraphQL proposal about shipping and order addresses?
Yeah, so right now we are continuing work on schema, GraphQL schema for checkout, and specifically we are working on adding shipping and billing addresses to cart, assigning addresses to cart. So if you are interested, I will probably not go into too much details here because it may be not interesting for everybody, but if you're interested, we will post link once again to our architectural pull request, since all proposals and design documents are created in special GitHub repository Magento architecture, so it's not part of GraphQL space. So if you're interested, it would be really valuable if you can go and review and provide the feedback, maybe just give some use cases if you missed support for those use cases and you need it. So then we will accommodate it in Schema. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been, let me add a little color to that too. We've been running into a lot of kind of, maybe not uncommon, but basically checkout features that we need to account for in the checkout API. So there's fundamental things like, how many shipping addresses can we have on a quote? And, if we consider our multi-shipping functionality, for example, where an order can be shipped to multiple addresses, then, this is one of the things that could have an impact on how what the schema looks like, because we can have multiple shipping addresses as opposed to one. Same kind of issue potentially with billing addresses. If we plan to support, multiple payments on an order in the future, then maybe we should have multiple billing addresses in case somebody's, pays with 2 credit cards that have different billing addresses, things like that. And then, lots of just checkout features, things like billing agreements or, accepting terms and conditions and different fields that are customer visible for like payment methods. For example, some payment methods have instructions, or check or money order has these fields that tell you who to make the check out to or where to send the check. All of these kind of tiny little things, we have an ongoing list, and we put a bunch of comments in the current state of the schema just so we don't forget. But if you guys are interested in this, we could use some help in kind of figuring out what it could look like in the schema and the API, where we need certain things and how to architect it. So it's a pretty complex kind of task in front of us, but it's also very fundamental in terms of what the API will look like, and we need to try to get it right. So if anyone has extensive experience in checkout or interest in what quotes look like and what the schema and the objects are how they're better structured, then we can definitely use some help on this one.
Yeah, so at this point, it is very desirable to create full schema for all features in open source edition, and at the same time, we need to make sure that we allow extensions for B2B and commerce edition to make sure that we can extend current schema in a nice way in the future when we continue development of coverage for those editions.
Yeah, a good example is like customer address attributes, right? So whenever you create additional attributes that should be showing up on checkout whenever customers enter the addresses, if you have additional attributes there, we want to make sure that they're exposed correctly, and those attributes that are not meant to show up on checkout, that those are not showing up and they're filtered out correctly. So all those types of things, there's just a collection of many simple things, but they all have an impact on what the cart object ends up looking like.
Okay, one more update from my side. We also going to create our regular special project status state on our dev blog. And I think there will be a lot of information about GraphQL, because we have a lot of requests in third quarter, and we will congratulate some agency which provided a lot of pull requests. So I think will be interesting post. And also I have one question to Alex Lizun. Do you have microphone? No? Okay. Looks like we have 2 pull requests from you, but we still have broken test on this pull request. Can you finish this at this week?
You hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I really hope I can finish it. One of those, which is a small one, is another guy. He's working on it currently, and with the customer data, maybe I will need your support for that. I have some question there. But then, yeah, that's a goal to complete them as fast as possible.
I will help you with newsletter pull request, but I ask you to finish show on the active category.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's another guy, Andrew. He's working on it right now, I guess.
Great, great. Thank you.
Yep, sorry guys, one more description about show only active categories. I saw this pull request, I saw changes for this, and it looks like test was not good because of by GraphQL schema we can show only first level of subcategories. Not all of them, because we have a tree, and inside the tree, after GraphQL request, we have first level, and then all other childs inside inside last of the first level of categories.
So we can rewrite this test, or we can provide some flag how many deep we need in the category, but generally I think it will be more better to rewrite this test and remove this all name of category.
Yeah, that sounds good. I know we had some stories around how to best be able to query categories, and I thought I remember the idea of being able to provide a depth parameter to designate how deep the tree is supposed to be returned, or how many levels of children are supposed to be returned. So if that's, I don't remember if that's in there or not, but that was at some point that was the intention.
So it looks like that's all.
Yeah, any other action or comments or from anyone? I've got just one comment. I met with a Magento agency here in town that are also really excited to start contributing. So we may have a couple, hopefully a contributor or two additionally soon. So we need to kind of work with them to figure out some first issues to take, and we'll have somebody in our own time zone here who will hopefully work with us. So yeah, just keep your eyes open for additional contributors coming in soon.
Great news.
Agreed. Cool. Well, if nothing more, then appreciate you guys joining this week. Thanks again for your work and your comments and dedication to this project. And we will be in touch in Slack, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.